sure we have somebody to look around and
Let me start by most of the people that you see here, A, they're older than I am. B, most of them were in concentration camps. I was not. I was hidden with a Christian family who basically treated me as one of their own. I was one of the very lucky ones. I survived the war primarily because of them. Now, I'll let you ask me any questions that you want.
How old were you?
The Germans invaded Holland in 1941. I was born in 1938. Okay, I lived with my mom until I was 5 years old, which was 1943. And then I lived with foster parents until I was 7. And then that was in 1945.
Why were you living with foster parents?
Okay, let me give you a little bit of background. Okay, the Nazis invaded Holland in 1941. My grandmother came from Germany. My parents immigrated from Germany to Holland. And my grandmother came to take care of me. My father had died 1 month before I was born. And in 1943, the Nazis grabbed.
Would you like it?
No, I'm good, thank you. The Nazis grabbed. You know what I would like? Some water. No, that's yours, isn't
No.
it?
No.
Okay. The Nazis. Whoops. The Nazis came and they grabbed my grandmother. She was taken to a place called the Holländische Schabrau. Now, the Holländische Schabrau was a place which was a large movie theater. The Nazis knocked down all the seats, and they brought all Dutch Jews there, and then from there they went to concentration camps. So everybody knew that things were becoming very difficult for the Jews. So consequently, what happened to us, and I told the story to the other people, was my mom and I in 1943 were also captured by the Germans and sent to the Holländische Schabrau. Now there is a book, and the book is a story about a woman who was in Amsterdam, and it's called the Rembrandt Affair. Do you know what Rembrandt is? No. Rembrandt is a very, very, very famous painter. His paintings are worth millions of dollars. And the guards were bribed by this woman's father with a Rembrandt, okay, which was worth millions of dollars. So we were also captured. And my father and his partner at that time, they had owned a sausage factory and a butcher shop, which the Germans took away from us. But we were bribed. The guards were bribed, in my case, with salamis, which shows you that some people are worth Rembrandts and other people are worth salamis. I guess I'm one of the salamis, right? Anyway, after we were captured in 1943, my mom realized that we could be captured again. We escaped, but we could be captured again. So she had befriended a nurse in the hospital that she was working. And the nurse said, if you ever need help with your child, I'll help you. But I can't tell you who your child is going to be living with, because if you're ever captured, you might squeal or talk. Consequently, at the end of the war, we found out that she hid us with her own parents. Now you got to realize they had 4 other children in the house. And if they knew that I was Jewish, they would have basically their entire family would have been killed. Consequently, I always say to myself, would I have had the courage to do what they did?
That's a great exchange.
Okay, what's your next question?
Sorry, I have another one. Did you have siblings with you?
I was an only child.
Only child. Okay.
I was an only child, but when I lived with foster parents, they had 4 other children
Correct.
that lived in the house. I had an older brother who was 3 years older than I was, and he became my best friend. And then I had 2 sisters who were 8 and 10 years older than myself, and they became my mothers. And I'm still friendly with them. They live in Tasmania.
Did you keep your faith, your Jewish faith, throughout all this? Or?
That's a very, very good question. The people that I was living with were Catholics, and I was treated as one of the family, so that I went to church with them every Sunday. Now, after the war, we are Jewish. I'm not religious, but I'm Jewish. But I probably have gone to church as many times as I've gone to synagogue.
Did you ever reunite with your mom?
Yes, I did. After the war, when the war was over, my mom lived in Amsterdam. And Amsterdam and The Hague, I think, are about 30 or 40 miles apart. And now you have to remember, she was in hiding also. And I don't know if I told you, but she lived with a Christian lady, and when the Christian lady went to work, let's say 7 o'clock in the morning, she basically had to sit on the couch until the Christian lady came home, which could be 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And the reason for that was there was a Nazi sympathizer who lived in the apartment below, and she recognized that if there were footsteps after the Christian lady left, they knew that they would be hiding somebody upstairs. So my mom never moved for 12, 14 hours at a time. And at the end of the war, not having moved or having any exercise, she came by bicycle with almost bald tires all the way to The Hague to see me. So we were reunited, and then I lived with her right after the war, and then came to the United States.
How old were you?
When I came to the United States,
When you were with the family?
between the ages of 5 and 7.
This was a tragic event, but do you think it's a
Any other questions?
to learn from history in order to better the future?
When you were living with the family, with your foster family, was like going out and stuff like that, was that safe? Did you have a hard time? Were you going to school?
Right. You have to remember this was a war that was going on. Okay. Things in a war, whether you're Jewish or Gentile, not safe. Let me give you an example. 2 things happened. One, I remember we went to a funeral, and my immediate family went one way to the funeral, and the extended family decided to go another way, their aunts and uncles and stuff. Well, we were very lucky. We made it to the funeral and back. The extended family all got killed by a bomb. So you say it was safe. Well, Okay, another situation which I don't know if I told you guys about, but we lived on the ground floor, and I'm sitting in a large chairs. I remember I collected some kind of little stamps or something, and I got up and I went into the kitchen, which was like right there, and all of a sudden we heard a very large noise, and there was this much dust in the living room where I was sitting. And the chair that I was sitting on was completely demolished. And the bomb dropped 3 stories right through everything. And did not explode. And is still there today. So you say, was everything safe? You know, I consider myself a very, very lucky man. I have 3 fantastic kids, 9 great-grandchildren. What could be better? Living in a nice, warm place, what could be better, right?
Sure.
That's definitely a different story than what we've heard.
Well, I tell you, a lot of them, they're very sad. Some of the people here were hurt very badly. I can't say that. Everybody has a slightly different story, but I'm one of the lucky ones. We survived the war. I came to this country, which is a tremendous place, a great opportunity, and I got very lucky and met a nice lady, and she's a great mom and a great partner, married 51 years. So I'm one of the very lucky people.
Yeah, it's great.
You don't hear that story all over, right?
Was the transition from living in England with the war, coming back to America, coming down to America or here to America, how was that for you?
Fantastic. Was the transition. Well, I was 7 when the war was over. We lived in Holland for 2 years after the war. Now, after the war, things in Holland, it's not like turning a switch. There was a lot of destruction. Food was not easily, people were still hungry. Food was not available. Certainly the things that we like. And I came to this country on a ship called the Veendam, Holland American line. And I remember everybody was seasick except me. Okay, and we got on that boat, we got eggs and this and that. I never had these things before. So, there's a huge difference in terms of everything else.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
But, of course, you have to learn the language. But, kids are resilient. Kids, it's much easier for young people. I learned to speak English very quickly. But, you have to fit in. I remember the first day, I could answer your question, the first day I went to school, you know what knickers are? They're pants that you kind of rolled up, but people don't wear them. So I go to school with knickers, and everybody's making fun of me.
Oh.
The next day I said, I'm not wearing that anymore.
No.
But, but life is good. And somebody asked me the question, are you optimistic? I said, hey, with all you young people, how can you not be optimistic?
So you were 7 when the war ended, and you lived in Holland for 2 years. So that would be you were 9,
Right.
and you moved to America when you were 9?
Yes.
Okay. Prior to that, did you have any school experience?
I think I may have told you that the only schooling that I remember, now I went to school, was when I lived in The Hague with my foster parents. I went to school, but because I'm Jewish,
Correct.
the principal knew that I was Jewish, and he used to send me home when there was a Nazi inspection. So
he was looking out for you.
he was looking out for me. And there were a lot of good Dutch people who looked out. It was so bad. But you get that anywhere, right? You get some good, you get some bad.
Exactly.